families being apart, not being able to meet each other for long periods, kids in one place, one of the parents in the other. All of us have been through that. And again, I'm going to emphasize the same thing. What a lot of you have experienced, our healthcare professionals have also experienced. Again, I'm highlighting about how human they are, just like you and I. So thank you, all of you, for sharing what you've done. About what Jerestyn spoke about, the PPEs. I remember when I was admitted and I actually spoke to a couple of, the nurses on duty. As women, what they go through is really, really tough. And one of them said that when we are menstruating, it is such a problem. We're donning that entire thing and getting out of staying in that for 7, 8 hours nonstop. You can't come out of it and walk back in. Not being able to use the loos, not eating. My God, I mean, how tough it must have been for all of you. And we all feel hungry, don't we? Bhook sabko lagti hai. And it must have been so demanding on all of you. And just so grateful for all of you for sticking on, because I know of people who gave up, who said, we are not going to do it. There was no compulsion to work in COVID. There was no compulsion at all, but you guys stuck on and you saved a lot of lives. So now I want to talk about the vicarious grief. Hemraj said there was a time when there were 3 deaths in a day. A lot of people don't realize it's expected. Non-medicals expect that when a doctor sees death, he's used to it or she's used to it. It's not like that. A loss of human life impacts every human being and even a doctor. So I actually want to know from all of you, how did you manage that vicarious grief? Hemraj, can I start with you? You're on mute. You're on mute.
So, taking the burden of deaths, COVID deaths, or rather getting deterioration of a patient in our ICU, in spite of the fact that we are doing our best, we are trying to save the patient at every cost. We are doing every special things or every procedures what he or she requires at that moment. But in spite of all our efforts, we couldn't save many patients. We have lost many patients. We have seen the patient dying in front of us. We have seen patient, I think it was one night when I had to put 3 patients in a row on ventilator. When you have patients in front of you gasping for just breaths, you can't do anything. You don't have anything else just to put the patient on ventilator. That's it. Knowing the prognosis that the lungs are too bad, she or he is requiring too much of oxygen, she may not come out. But you don't have any option right now. The patient I talked about previously, and before just putting on the ventilator, she just told the kids that, wait for me, I will be coming back. It was her statement. And that was a really emotional moment for me when I was knowing the fact that she won't get well, or she may not be able to get back to home. She was very poor, means the lungs were very bad. And the current clinical condition was also not good. So that was the time I've seen at that night was a breakdown when I had to put 3 patients on ventilator when I went to home. And when I just went to home, I had a cheerful face in front of me, my baby, who just wanted to, as I said, that everyone was scared, but she was not scared. She was not knowing anything. And I had a cheerful face in front of me, then who was very ready to play with me. That now chalo hum log khelte hain, ball se khelte hain. So I can't put up all my emotional burden on her. I just can't ignore her. I can't just say, no, get out of my sight, and I just don't want to talk right now with anybody. I want to be alone. I want to be at my peace right now. I'm not emotionally stable right now. Many a times I tried to escape talking with them. I just tried saying to my wife that let me go on a walk. I tried many a times. These were the time when I went for more than 1.5 hours. I used to walk, not for the thing that I don't want to put burden on them, but for my peace also. I couldn't find peace in front of them when they are expecting something of me. I can't talk to them. I can't put my burden on their shoulders. I can't ask them to listen to me that what I am going through, you should also. This was something that I think every doctor has kept within them. Nobody wants to take this burden to give to their relatives or their loved ones. So this is what we are facing. We have faced a lot. We can talk about the patients like as Shruti ma'am told that we had many patients got ready, and many times I you won't believe, when I was doing COVID duty and I went to I was going to hotel and my few patients were getting good. So that was a very cheerful day for me, and I was driving, and at the night it was 2 or 3. So I was waiting if somebody could halt me, even the policeman. It was curfew, it was the ban, it was lockdown, and I was thinking that if some policeman also even uh, asked me to halt, and I can say that I am happy, we have done a good job, our patients are getting good. I was so happy at that day. I remember that day also. It was 3 a.m. in the night when I was going to the hotel. So these things, we can even I messaged my wife at 4 a.m. that today I'm happy after one of my duty that our patients are getting. Maybe she would come out of the ventilator tomorrow or day after tomorrow. A young female patient, yeah. So we could save many young. We have lost many. So this is all burden I didn't wanted ever to share with my family. That's it, and have to keep within us. And I think every doctor will get agree with this thing.
I like any one of you to add on to what he said. Manali, would you like to add something?
Yes, ma'am. Tough time was really there, and it was really a tough time. We did not expect that to happen. Many times we felt that whatever my knowledge is there, if it is not going to help these patients, what I have done till date, there was a lot of guilt or self-blaming was there. I used to feel that why I am doing this, I should not be doing this, I should go home and I should not do anything. But again, next moment that thought used to come to my mind, no, I'm doing my level best, and that is the only thing which I can do. I used to just remember Lord Krishna, who used to say that karmanyevadhikaraste. So we were greedy. We wanted fruit of our hard work. We wanted our each and every patient to get better. But uh, it was not possible. It was not possible that each patient will get better. So we were trying to help each other. Whenever other one is down, we used to boost their moral by just cranking some jokes or just telling them some positive part of someone is getting better. Just oxygen requirement going down from 100 to 98, we used to celebrate that day. It is not great achievement that we are going from 100% to 98. We are reducing oxygen from 100% to 98%. But Shruti ma'am has given that positivity in like in every thought, that oh, be happy that we are gone down by 2% of oxygen. And uh, yes, we used to cheer each other, we used to motivate each other, and we wanted to tell each other that we should not be harsh to ourselves And we have realized during COVID time that most harsh person to you is yourself, your expectations. You were expecting something extraordinary from you, but during that time, that moment or that situation, whatever you could do, it was the best. There was nothing beyond that point. But we always want positive results. We write each exam to pass. We wanted to come out with beautiful bright colors only, and that hardship we did it with ourselves. Many times we get connected to the patients. During COVID times, we did not see families. We were just making video calls, and by getting connected through video calls, many times we get involved in their families. We did not want to get involved, but still we got it. Anyone to talk to. So there were times that patient used to just open their heart in front of us. Many patients, they do tell us that डॉक्टर पास मत आना, दूर से ही देखो, मुझसे आपको इन्फेक्शन हो जाएगा. ऐसे भी थे, और कुछ ऐसे भी थे जिन्होंने डांट भी लगाई, गालियां भी दी, but they were in tough situation. So it was not their fault. It was the tough situation which made them do so. So there were difficult times, but God was very kind to give us strength. There were times I was just driving alone and I have cried like small child when I was crying and driving alone. And there were good times also, as Hemraj said, that I was singing aloud. I was happy when my patients were getting better. So everything, all emotions were linked how my patient is doing. And we forgot to cherish good moments also. But there were like people like Shruti ma'am who used to motivate us that please don't push yourself too hard. Be kind to yourself. We cannot survive every patient, and we are doing our level best. Don't try to expect something extraordinary from you. Then Bhagavad Gita was really helping during those tough times to understand yourself better. And my husband is one of the great follower of Bhagavad Gita. So he used to tell me that whatever you are expecting extraordinary from yourself, that is a greed. You have to come out of that. And one of my teacher used to say that you should have people, a phone number of 5 positive people and 5 negative people. Whenever you are too much excited in your life, you should call that 5 negative people. They will bring you from sky to on earth. And whenever you are too depressed, you are down, you are in the hell, that time you should call five positive people, and they will pull you out of that hell and they will bring you on earth. They will bring positivity in you. And it helped me a lot. Those 5 positive and 5 negative people, they kept me on earth, alive, fighting.
What a lovely mantra you've shared with us, Manali. And I experience it so often when I counsel palliative patients. You know, there are some end-of-life patients who bring me down, and then I turn to the patients who are actually responding well, and it kind of pulls me up. So what a lovely mantra. And I would like, if any one of you would also like to pitch in with your views on this about, you know, patients and the vicarious grief, how it affected you all.
So I know you said in the beginning that, you know, people think that we're used to death. And I often feel when I have some time to, you know, stir up a little revolution in me, that I feel that maybe it's true. Maybe, you know, death isn't affecting me that much. You know, am I becoming stone? And it's often a conversation when we take rounds in the ICU and we take a handover from each other. We ask each other, is he going to survive? I mean, is there anything left to do? But when, you know, we lose those patients, we don't know, but we sort of, you know, we lose something of ourselves. Was there something that we could have started? Is there something that I did wrong? That's the first question, you know, that comes to all of us, that is there something I've missed? And this is the one thing we keep asking ourselves, is there something I've missed? And I think in these times, I thank my teacher the most. I'm going to say Sandeep sir also. I used to go down, I used to chew his brain that, no, I didn't do this. Maybe I didn't do this. And he's like, stop, stop, please stop. And my way of dealing, I think, with vicarious grief, and not just COVID, I mean, even pre-COVID, was to walk home. And I remember, and this habit started a long time back. And I think it's been a privilege to walk on Pedder Road and get home, where you get to sort of see both sides of the world. There are so many trees, there are high rises, and from some corner you can see the sea, and you can see people walk. And there's just so much to observe that, in all this, somewhere I used to have these insights on how my day has gone. And I used to reach home and feel light, a shade lighter. But I think what COVID took away from that was my dad saying that, no, you're not going to walk home anymore because there's curfew and it's not safe. And we used to finish at odd hours and we used to come at odd hours. So I think that was something that COVID took away. And I cannot forget my father come at 1 o'clock and 1:30 and 3 o'clock. Are you done? Should I leave now? And I know I never allowed him to come on a two-wheeler. In fact, he loves the two-wheeler and he knows I love it, to a nice ride home. But I remember telling him, don't get the two-wheeler because I can't stick to you. So he used to get the car, and for the longest time, he was like my driver. Literally, he was sitting on the front seat and I used to sit behind and I used to feel terrible. And I used to tell him, put your mask up. And he's like, please give me a breather. And I'm like, no, put your mask up. And I used to try and, those were, although it was that time that I wanted to myself, that 10 minutes, we used to make some small talk with each other. And sometimes when I was not in a good mood, when, the ICU was so overwhelming, I remember shouting at him. And he would just take all of it in. And when I was sitting today and I remember, and I was, listening to Manali ma'am and Hemraj, I realized that he took so much more inside and so much away from me without ever saying no. I remember a time when I told him that, Dad, I'm scared. I don't, he's diabetic, and you know what fathers and daughters are.
Absolutely.
That's a bond that you cannot even begin to describe. And I remember talking to him from far away again and telling him that, Dad, you want me? I think I should shift to our other room or shift to a hotel. And he said, no way. I will not forget that. No way. He's like, listen, we've brought you up so beautifully. We have 2 beautiful daughters. We've seen our grandchildren. So even if you're going to give it to me, and trust me, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance of that happening, we're okay with it. But I can't let you go away. And I think just these small moments, sometimes sitting 6 and 12 feet apart from my mom and not saying a word to her is the best way of grieving. And I think now that I got COVID, I've spent the most time with my sister. I haven't spent 7 days on the trot with her in the last 2 years. This is the most time we spent to each other, and I've just we sort of refurbished our bond. And it's something I think I was waiting for, and it's sad it came like that, but we were okay about it. So I think we've just got so many pillars around, and I can say that for me, that although we all think that we need to internalize grief, there's actually a lot of people around us who are in their own way sort of sun-raising it from us. They're centrifugating our grief, and they're making us ready for another small battle ahead. I think I think they deserve a bigger clap than we do. Yeah.
Janhavi and Saurabh, would you also like to share your views? Okay, Janhavi first.
Yeah. So actually, death definitely was very overwhelming. And the difference was, I think, in the first wave, I remember reading, we have Bradmas when patients get admitted. And I think because of the fear that, you have parents, I kept looking at the age every single time on that grandma. And every time I'd be like, oh, that's my mom's age, that's my dad's age, it's younger than them also. And they're doing so badly. And then, your next process is, as soon as I get home, I call up my dad. I say, if you want anything, you ask me to bring it. Don't go out, wear an N95. And the worst, I think, was talking to their relatives, which were people who are my age or even younger. I've spoken to a 23-year-old son who was just starting out. He just finished his graduation. He didn't know and the first question, he's like, I don't know how to mobilize the finances. That's what he said. And that just resonates in you, because it's true. Both his parents are on the venti there. One was, I think, in Bokhad, and his dad was here with us. And that's his concern. I mean, that is so much of burden to put on a 23-year-old's shoulder. And I don't know if that was worse, or whether during the second wave, me talking to people who are my parents' age and telling them that their children who are my age or even younger may not make it. I have no idea which is the worst feeling. Because telling a parent, and I have seen them, during some end of this, under certain special circumstances, we did allow the parents to come in PPE to visit. And their old 70-year-old parents worn the PPE in the best form that they can. And their son is struggling there on the ventilator. He's not going to come out. And you just can't offer anything but support. Like, it's a horrible place to be in. But I remember in that time, I used to go home and I used to just call up my mom. And I would download all of that on her. I don't think she understood the medical part at all. But there's never been a time she's cut the phone, or, she's not listened to it. And she'd always be like, no, you're doing your best. And that's important. You can't save everyone. And I think what Manali ma'am said, that we needed to be a little more kinder to ourselves. And it was okay to accept that we can't save everyone else. It's something that Shruti ma'am, I remember, taught us once, that I was having a horrible day. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. I was supposed to doff by 2, it was 6 o'clock. And the monitors were beeping non-stop. We had 2 deaths in the morning. Another one impending almost. And I remember she told me, nothing doing, it's time for you to doff now. She said, you're exhausted. She's like, it's okay to be exhausted. She's like, it doesn't make you a lesser person to be tired. And it felt nice when someone said that yeah, it doesn't make you a lesser person to be tired. It's quite normal. So, yeah.
All your stories are just so human. And now it's Saurabh's turn to share.
So I have been working in ICU since I think 2016. So breaking the date, for that I used to, because I have seen more deaths in Gujarat rather than Jaslok, because Jaslok is tertiary care and they are doing so much. They are doing so efforts to bring out the patient from the death. But I was working in periphery, so that was ICU. But yeah, one patient I remember that it was the name, I remember the name also. It was Sandeep. I think it was 38-year male, and her daughter he was brain dead actually. And we have made video call to her daughter. She's 3-year old, and she was telling, and she used to call her dad, said, dad, come home soon. I will not fight. I will eat everything, and I will not make you trouble. And that made me so hard that we were knowing that her father was not going making his father was not going to come back. And that time it made me very hard. uh, yeah, that is my experience.
What they've shared is what all of us have experienced: fear, guilt, being tired, and blaming themselves. And what else, what proof do we need that they are every bit as human as all of us? And the guilt of not being able to save every life is so debilitating, so debilitating. I'm sure, you know, at that time, you would have needed support from each other. And Janhavi has to leave. So can I request Janhavi to give her inputs first, and then I'll move on to the others. So Janhavi, are you there? Yeah. So all of you've spoken about the guilt and about the, you know, about being emotionally drained, and at some point that would have taken a toll on your mental health. And how did you cope up with that, Janhavi? Did you have a support structure? Did you reach out to a counselor? How did you cope up with you know, the impact on your emotional
I
health?
didn't. I think it was. I didn't take counseling for that. There's definitely. I don't know whether you call it like a PTSD, but there's definitely some trauma that stays with you, I think, on this. But there was one was, I mean, you know, I tried to separate work from the life that is outside work, which was something that was becoming really difficult initially, you know, considering that the repercussions of what you did were coming back with you literally in the time. Is even if you speak to your family, you're, you know, you're at risk of giving something to them. But like I said, my mom's been a great help. So is my entire family. I'm closest to my mom. So I did, like, I think I didn't need a counselor because she was always there. She's been fantastic. She always has, you know, some of, I don't know, she has these things which help to cheer you up, you know, which will always, like, to keep that fighting on. I mean, every time you felt that, you know, you're not good enough, she would always have this, that, you know, we're really proud that you're going for this and you're doing a good thing. So don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Makes you a bit more stronger when someone says that, you know, when someone has that much confidence that after you've lost 3 lives in a day, that somebody can still have that much confidence in you, that helps. And another big support, like, I can't say that enough, has been all my colleagues and seniors at Jaslok. I just cannot mention that enough, that they've always been there right from the get-go. Everyone here has been those who've been in COVID with me from the beginning, and I know I have called almost every one of them at some point of time, you know, and unloading everything, asking them certain doubts when you're in, whether, you know, you've made the right move or not with the patient, when you're second guessing yourself, or just telling them, because at times it becomes a little difficult for family to understand the medical aspect of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be there, but they're not understanding. And you just want to tell, I want somebody to know that, you know, he's not doing well, but I did everything I could. So at times like that, it would really help to have colleagues who are more than colleagues. They were good friends, and they were a shoulder for you to literally, you know, put all your worries on, and, you know, this is happening and that is happening, and they would give a good ear. So it's very important, the importance of a good work and healthy work environment. I think that kind of resonated more during this time, like when you needed a very good like a strong support structure, not only at home but even at work.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Janhavi. And also, before you leave, any message that you would like to give out to the people listening to this conversation?
In terms of message, I mean, I think so. Everyone had their own journey, like medicos have theirs, but I know personally, because there's been everybody's had that affecting them privately. I know of so many people, you've lost a parent, a sister, a brother. So everyone's grief is there, but I genuinely feel that the importance of family and friends could never have been more important than this time. And it's okay to go and tell someone that you're not okay. I think I can't say that more. Again, like, it's okay not to be okay. And just sharing that with someone, it makes it all the much better. Like, it makes it a lot more easier.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to be not okay. And it is absolutely okay to be saying that and accepting it. And Janhavi, your thoughts about humanizing our healer conversations?
I think what you're doing is really good, because it's something, I think we got a good forum to talk about it. We've kept a lot of those things within ourselves. We've not been able to express it. It gives us
I think even the outside world looks as doctors to be so objective in everything, and that that's not going to affect us. And for a while, I thought that even I can be quite objective about death, but it's not. You're not that objective about it. Every death hurts you. Every death stays with you. And then in between, you get certain good successes like that. When your patient who is there on your venti for a month is now weaned off. So getting to share those experiences with someone, you're doing a really good job in that. Like, it felt nice to share that with someone.
And it felt really nice to have you for this conversation, Janhavi. And before you leave, I know you were in a rush. Any anecdote that you would like to share with us? I don't want to miss that opportunity for you to end with a anecdote.
I actually had certain funny this. One of them was one of my patients who was there in the ICU. And he was quite shocked. He was asking me a lot of details, and this one's on requiring about 60% oxygen and HFNO. And he was very, very interested still in my entire life story because he was so fascinated by doctors at large. So he kept on asking me, he's like, so how is your husband okay? He's all right with you going to work? And he understood, he had developed this thing that he knew that we were rotating shifts after 6 hours. So whenever it was the end of 6 hours, and he saw that my reliever, the doctor who's come to relieve me, has come here, he would out of turn go and say, no, now run fast. Your husband is waiting. It's been only a year of marriage. You can't do this. So that's very cute. For someone to be that sweet to think about it, like I'd forgotten about it, but he remembered very much. It's 6 hours. You better go back home.
Yeah, and that actually brings a smile on my face for the patients to be that understanding and caring for their doctors. I think it is just a very nice gesture, and it also just makes the doctors feel recognized as doctors and human beings too. Yeah. Thank you, Janhavi, for being here. So much. And wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And take care, Janhavi.
Yeah, thank you.
Janhavi has to leave for duty. So now I'm going to come to Hemraj. Hemraj, you have spoken in details about the impact, the emotional impact of whatever you've been through. How did you manage it? Because I as you know, as someone from mental health, I am a therapist, and I see a lot of doctors. I think one of you said, I have a fear that many will be impacted with PTSD, and it is scary. How have you dealt with the emotional baggage that has come with serving people in the last year and a half?